What's going on, everyone? It's Bales, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Trade Talk video ahead of round 22. So 3 weeks to go. We've only got the 6 trades left in the fantasy season, so you've got to try and make them count, because especially if you're in league finals or you're trying to get a ranking top 10, 50, 100, 1,000, whatever. Obviously, 6 trades, you've got to try and make them count. So, but not long to go. We only got the 3 weeks. For me, I'll be continuing because I'll be doing AFLW fantasy, but there'll be a fair portion of people that do take a break. But I would highly encourage everyone, if you want to do more AFLW fantasy, to do it, because I'll be doing more content. Yeah, it's really fun. So if you guys want to do it, make sure you get involved this season. Actually, put in the comments as well who's getting involved in AFLW fantasy this season. I'll be doing an open league. I'll put out the code for that within the next few days or so, and then we'll still be doing like the Ask Me on Q stuff for AFLW. We'll still be doing the pre-lockout chats and the round reviews and stuff. So if you guys are keen for that, then yeah, make sure you put it in the comments. But we do have more trades to do for AFL men's fantasy. So let's go through the most trade in-out players for the week. But as always, before we do, if you're enjoying the content, smash a big thumbs up on the video. That'd be very much appreciated. 100 likes is always the goal on the video. So and make sure you do subscribe as well. We're less than 80 now from 2.7k. So if we can hit that goal, that'd be very much appreciated as well. So Mateus Philippou, number 1 traded in player. We obviously talked about it a lot. We talked about it a lot last night on the Q&A. Obviously, we had the godfather of AFL Fantasy, Warney, jump on with us. So if you want to check that out, then make sure it was a great chat with Warney, chatting all things fantasy, and then also chatting about the Content Creators Cup as well, because obviously he's in it. So in the preliminary final against Luke this week, and then I've got Mitch. So make sure you tune into that from last night. But Philippou, as an option, I like him. Obviously, some of my trades after, but I'm jumping on him this week. So I like him. I think he's trustworthy at F6 as well. I shouldn't say trustworthy, because you just never know, because the F6 spot isn't trustworthy. But I think he's good enough to just be at F6, and you can put him there, right? I also like the F7 option if you just go Dowling to him. I like that trade as well. But he's got Richmond this week, then he's got Geelong, then Carlton. He's putting up really good numbers as a midfielder. Like, his games as a midfielder since coming back into the team have been a lot better than a lot of the forwards. Like, his average would be pretty good over that time. So he's had 3 games there, 117, 93, 96. So obviously going very well, averaging over 100 there in those 3 games. So I'm actually just working out his average here. So what it would be over the 3 games. So it is... No, it's not 242. Anyway, we'll try it again. 117, 96, and 93. And then divide by 3. So he's averaging 102 in his 3 games. I could have easily just done that. But anyway, we'd use computer. So he's averaging 102 in this role. That puts him easily as a top 6 forward, and probably a top sort of 4 the way he's going. So, yep, I like him. Good matchups to come. Good role. And still cheap as well. So you should be able to get to him easily. Archie Roberts, 240k if you need a downgrade option and you need someone playing. Good option. Looked good last week. Really good, actually. Scored the 80. Would be decent cover. But I think a lot of people at the stage where they're just doing some shuffling now, so you're probably not looking at rookies. But I guess if you need the money to get a Cherry or a Marshall or someone like that, and you need the cash, then obviously a guy like Roberts could do. So if you need someone downgrade and you can do it, then why not? I'm still happy to go down to 200k if you need to. But if you need cover, I don't mind Roberts there. Marshall, yep, love him as a pick. Him and Cherry. Actually, I'll talk about Cherry separately. Marshall, great matchups to come. Richmond this week, then goes into Geelong, and then Carlton. So obviously same as Philippou. But as a ruck, Nank, who's giving up big points. He also scored a 136 against Nank early in the year. Then he's got Geelong. I don't think he played Geelong round 1, 118, but Geelong obviously very good matchup for rucks. Then he goes into Carlton, who he has not played, but obviously Pitney, good matchup again. He's what's that? 8 tons in a row. All his last 4 scores over 118, 3 of those been over 130. So just going absolutely bananas. He's number 1 averaging player for the season. And he's just going very well. So if you can afford him, I like him as a pick. Jack Sinclair, very good option as well this week. Richmond, obviously, same run as Philippou and Marshall. yeah, I just like him as an option. I think he's a top 6 defender for the last few weeks and putting up really good scores. So I would entrust him in that defensive line there. I'm just actually going to get his last few scores. He obviously got the 132 last week, 104, 110, 76, 102, 135. Obviously, the 76 against Crows wasn't great. Bad conditions for that one there as well. But every defender's prone to put up a bad score. So, but yeah, Sinclair, I really like there. Peatling, I probably wouldn't. Coming through okay with the audio. Yep, we are. Just check the settings. Yep, we're all good. Yeah, Peatling, I just don't think I'd worry about him now, unfortunately. I think Philippu's a better option. Peatling's got Brisbane this week, and then he goes into, is it Freo? And then the Dogs. Yeah, so it's not an amazing, like it's okay, but it's not an amazing run. And Josh Kelly's back this week, and Cogs could be back this week. If not, he'll be back next week. He's been fantastic, but even a trade from him to Philippu could even be an option. So I wouldn't worry about him now. Again, you could always put him at F7, loop him and put Philippu at F6, but I'd probably just put Philippu there. But yeah, I just won't worry about it personally. If you're at Philippu, could you do it and have Peatling and Philippu? You could. But there could be another trade you might want to do instead. Maybe you go another midfield to a midfield that's got a better matchup or something. But yeah, Peatling obviously don't mind, but I'd prefer other options just because of the matchups and people come back. Harvey Johnston, bit similar to Archie Roberts, he's 200k and playing. So if you need the 40k, I'd definitely be going for a Johnston, just because cash is key at this point. As long as you've got cover, you don't really need cash gen at this point, so I would be getting Johnston. But if you need cover, Roberts would be the go. Obviously, Tristan Cherry, he's just been amazing. And obviously, I've mentioned on the pod and even last night in the Q&A, I'm getting him this week. So I've pretty much already said who I'm getting, Philippu and Cherry this week. The West Coast matchup, we saw Wits go massive against them last week. Cherry got a 129 against Murray in the year as well. He's essentially guaranteeing you 8 tackles and 40 hit-outs a game at the moment, and that's giving you, 70-odd points straight off the bat. And as Calvin says, he's guaranteeing 84 points. So, he's just on absolute tear at the moment. It's ridiculous how well he's going. And I think, I think if you guarantee 10 tackles and 40 hits, it's 80 points. So it's crazy what he's doing at the moment. And I just need him back in. And he's got great matchups as well. West Coast, then goes into Bulldogs, and then Hawthorn. 3 great matchups. I think you need him. So, I think he's a very good option. Tom Power, with Wardlaw potentially coming back this week, and McKercher's still there, Fisher comes back in. We just don't know what his role is. I'd prefer Philippu, if I'm being honest. But if you've got Philippu, don't mind Power as another option there, and a bit more unique. He's got West Coast. It's just, I worry what his role is. So, if Wardlaw's back, he's not going to play as much midfield. He goes defence. They've already got Stevenson and McKercher back there. So Power sort of sits in that mould where it's what's his role? And I guess if you had him at the start of the year, you probably don't want to bring him in, to be honest, because you're sort of well, I got rid of you. He dropped a 40 a few weeks ago. So it depends what position you're in. If you're trying to catch up some ground, you want a bit more of a unique. I don't mind Power. I'd prefer Philippu. But yeah, so he's not a terrible option. And if someone was keen on him, I couldn't talk you out of it. But I think I'd just prefer a guy like Philippu instead. Treloar and Newman, both great premium options there. Obviously, Treloar's been in very, very good form. And obviously, Nick Newman come off that massive score last week, which I was very happy to bring him in on debut for. It's always nice when you get a huge score like that. But like both, Dylan Moore, don't mind him as well. He's obviously... customary yawn on a trade talk video. Carlton this week, but is it the MCG? So that's obviously not too bad. Then he goes into Richmond and then North Melbourne. So 2 good matchups to finish. I still like him if you don't have him and you can afford him. Gawn could be a differential, but I just think with Marshall and Cherry, they're just a level above at the moment. They've got great matchups. I just really find it hard to go away from those 2. If you can't afford him, I know Tim was saying last night he can't get both Cherry and Marshall. So he's going to go Gawn and one of those guys, which you could do. I think with the fact that he's playing sore and the other 2 going so well, I wouldn't worry about it. I'd just go, you have to go the other 2, I think. Bont, I like as well. Good option there. And obviously, there's a few, rookie people that people are jumping on. So, we'll go to the most traded out players now as well. This will be probably pretty quick trade talk video, to be honest, because like guys like Dowling can go, most trade out player for the week, but at the end of the day, going him to, a lot of people are going to go him to Philippou or a Peatling, or going him down to get as much cash to go up and get your Marshalls and your Cherries and guys like that. So, yep. Dowling could go. Same with Evans can go. Marshall and English, both can go because obviously people are trying to go to Cherry and Marshall. And yeah, I think both of those can go. Grundy got Collingwood this week, but obviously Laddens isn't in the team last week. That obviously hurt him. And I just think, again, the other guys are a step above. Same with English. Like, they're averaging 101, 106. Like, normally we go, oh, we're not going to worry about it. But Cherry and Marshall are averaging in excess of 110, and they've got the ceilings of 150s. Whereas we haven't actually seen English hit anything over 140 this year, and I believe Grundy might have only done it once, if I'm not mistaken. So English's top score for the year was, 141 in round 7 against Freo. Then he got the 131 against Port, but there is only 2 scores over 130 for the year. He had a couple of 120s there as well. So obviously his ceiling from like last year hasn't been there. And then like Brody Grundy, he might have only done the 140. I think he's done it once from memory. 133, 134, 142, there you go, against Gold Coast. So he's done a couple 130s and 140, but they were all early in the season as well. Obviously, scores from round 16 onwards haven't been as good. He's dropped off a bit with the tougher matchups because he did have a pretty easy run of matchups from round 6 right through to round 15 there. So, and again, the other guys are a step above, so I'd be trading both of those guys and trying to get the other guys in. Lawson Humphreys, yep, again, can go. Don't still mind him as a loop, as a D7 M9. But again, if he gives you the cash to get these Rucks or someone else, or not those 2 Rucks, but get a Cherry and Marshall in, he can go. Nick Martin's an interesting one. Gold Coast this week's a good matchup on paper. They've been giving up points to defenders. I'm probably still keeping Nick Martin this week. I'm keeping Nick Martin this week personally. He played Gold Coast early in the year and he scored, and that was at People First Game as well. When he went, what did he get? 97, not too bad. For the most part, he's been pretty consistent. Like back-to-back 80s, obviously not great, but he obviously plays huge time on ground. Obviously, but as you're looking at it though, from after the bye, he's only had 1 score over 100. It was at 143 where he had a 60-point last score with 4 goals in it. So I think he is a trade out still. Like if you've got nothing else to do, I think he's a lower priority than the Rucks and maybe a Philippou at F6. But once you've got those sorted, then I think Nick Martin could be a guy. And most people got Cherry already, so it's just getting maybe a Marshall. And if you've got him, then it would just be maybe Nick Martin and then the Philippou at F6. So maybe like a Myers or a Simpkin or someone down to a Philippou. And there you go. Nick Martin to a Sinclair or a Newman or something like that, or a Sheasel if you don't have Sheasel still. So he can go. I just do like the Gold Coast matchup. I think he's got to go in round 23 though. Sydney and then Brisbane in back-to-back weeks is not great. The Sydney game's at Marvel, which helps, but I think you probably want to trade him by that point and go to a player with a better matchup. So I think he can go latest next week and he can go this week. But if you have to keep him, good matchup. Brian Myers, reason obviously he's going is just the 50s he's dropping, and you're getting Philippou who's a lot cheaper, and he hasn't gone under 90 in this role. So, yeah, I think Myers can go. If you can loop between Myers and Philippou, that's obviously ideal. If you can go Dowling to Philippou and just loop between Myers and Philippou. But if you need the cash, or you can only go Myers down to get Philippou, I'd still tick it off, definitely. Sean Manor, a bit the same, but Sean Manor's obviously could pop some good scores. I think he had 72 last week. He's been putting up a few 70s lately. Obviously the 115, but 70, 84, 63, 72. Got a decent role. It's got good matchups to come. I wouldn't mind him as a loop. You maybe can loop him and Philippou for the last 3 games. But again, if him to Philippou on the bench, I still don't mind either. So he can go. Jackson's got to go. Dropped the 40 odd last week, and him to Philippou is definitely a very nice trade there. You still bank a little bit of coin as well. 685, yeah, you still bank like 130k, so I'd be happy to be doing that move. Showmaker can go, obviously not playing, gives you the cash to do moves. Will Day can go. Holmes I wouldn't be trading. He's actually a little bit of a surprise to me. I know he hasn't been great the last month or so, which fair enough has coincided a little bit with the Tom Stewart sort of dominating, but since the last 5 weeks, 4 scores under 100. But then again, Crows are sometimes a bit tricky to score on. North are hard to score against. Dogs, 83. And then 75 against Hawthorn, who'll be tough. But he's got Freo at Optus. Decent matchup there. That ends with St Kilda and West Coast. So great match. I'm even looking at trading him in next week for like a Nick Martin if I need to do that. So I personally wouldn't trade him out. Great matchups to come. I'd be holding him. Jordan Clark can go. Obviously, just doesn't have that massive ceiling that he had for 3 weeks. He's just a 90s guy. So again, going him to a Newman or a Sinclair would be something I'd do. Heaney could go. I just like the fact he does have Collingwood, then the Bombers, then Adelaide. 3 good matchups to come. I'd prefer to keep him, but then again, a few injuries in the forward line for Sydney. They haven't scored a lot of goals. They've got a few midfielders back, like the Robom's back in the team. Parker and Mills are back. So does Heaney play more forward? I don't know. But I think that Collingwood, Essendon, Adelaide are good enough matchups. Even if he played forward, he would still go well. But he hasn't been good since the bye. Only 2 tons. They've been low tons as well. 68 last week. But I'd still prefer to keep him because if he goes big, everyone's got him. Not many people are probably going to jump off just because of the forward line. So I'd keep him. Mason Wood's interesting as well. Richmond this week, you could keep. Good matchup. Obviously, he was poor last week. So going into Philippou, I'd still do. But you could, and because you can't loop between Wood and Philippou, so if you're going Wood down to Philippou to do the other move, I'd tick that off. But the Richmond matchup I like, so you could keep as well. Miniz Wakefield obviously can go as a rookie. Fraser can go. Tom Green could go with the Brisbane matchup, but I think that's an ultimate luxury trade there. I still think he'll go okay. I think Brisbane's a game. He went 127 against them earlier in the year. I feel like it's a game he could still score well in, so I'd probably keep personally, but you could trade. And then obviously Crisp, Oliver, and Oliver Dempsey can all go as well because they're just not top of the position and they're putting up some floor scores there as well. I think top 5 options this week. I've got Philippou at number 1. Just, again, the value that he presents. F6, I think everyone's going to be jumping on him this week that are looking at that F6 spot to fix. So Philippou for me is at number 1 there. Number 2, plenty of good options this week or whatever, but I'm going to go Rowan Marshall just with his run to finish. So you've got to bring him in with these really good runs, really good matchups. Tristan Cherry, I've got number 3. I think you just need these 2. A lot of people got Cherry already, but you just need both of them. So Cherry would be my number 3 option there. Number 4, I'd probably at number 4, I would still have Nick Newman. He's got Hawthorn, which is okay. Whitfield went up 137 against him last week. And then he's got West Coast St Kilda. And I've just got him ahead of Jack Sinclair, purely because those matchups. Sinclair I've got at 5 in my targets this week. I like that he's got Richmond, then Geelong, and then he's got Carlton. But I do look at it, and there is a chance he does get tagged in some of these games. He's got Richmond this week. Does Jack Graham go to him? He's then got Geelong, Atkins. Does O'Connor come back in the team? Mullen, does he come back? I don't know. I don't even know if they're injured, to be honest. But whatever. Does he get tagged there? Could. And then Carlton, Chincotta could go to him, or a Hewitt or someone if they're tagged. I don't know if Carlton, what they're doing with their tagging lately, but someone goes to him. So that's my only flag with Sinclair, but I still like Sinclair as an option. I'm not as concerned with the tags, but that's why I've got Newman at 4, Sinclair 5, because there's no tag risk with Newman, whereas there is a bit with Sinclair. So I'd go Newman at 4, and I would go Sinclair at 5. But I like Bont this week. I like Dylan more if you need to pay up a little bit for someone. I like Nasai Wanganeen-Millera, so he's not on the list here, which is interesting. I like him as a pod against Richmond. Also like Sam Walsh as well. Hawthorn, maybe you wait a week, but then he finished off with, again, West Coast St Kilda, so I like Walsh as well. A little bit cheaper as well, because he dropped a little bit in price. He's under 900, I believe. 857, so good price. I'm looking at him next week as an option as well. So Tom Stewart, if you don't have him, good option as well. And obviously Whitfield, great option as always. So they're my top 5 targets for the week. My trades this week, obviously said before who I'm bringing in. So I'm going Toby Green down to Philippou. And Toby Green's really good last month. I've got away with it a bit. He's got 3 scores over 90 in his last 4, including the ton that he got a couple of weeks ago as well against Melbourne. Got a 90-odd last week. So I'm really happy with him. But him down to Philippou, I think Toby Green, a bad score will come. It could be this week against Brisbane. Stasvich will probably go to him, and he could put up a low one there. So him to Philippou, I think it's a pretty easy trade. And then the other one, I'll be going English to Cherry. Again, as I said before, with the Rucks, I think you need Marshall and Cherry. And I don't have Cherry, obviously trading him out, which is probably the reason one of the main reason why I won't get top 100. But so I'm bringing Cherry back in. Can finally enjoy watching North again, having Cherry and Sheasel. And yeah, I can't see them changing, to be honest. Like, I looked at it and thought, could I go a Nick Martin or a Young to a Sinclair or something. But I thought, no, just got to go Cherry. So that's what I'll be doing. But let me know in the comments below, guys, what you guys are doing with your trades. And if you've got any questions, put them in the comments below, and I'll get to them when I can as well. And yeah, if you got more questions, well, you want to ask me over on Q, then head over to Ask Me on Q, spelt QU.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. You can send through all your AFL Fantasy questions there, categories to pick from. You can put your questions in there. But also, you can send me your AFLW questions as well. If you've made your team, you can send through your whole team. I can give you my thoughts on what your team is. If you've got any questions in regards to that as well, you can send them through. Obviously, the season's close, so if you guys have got questions for that, you can do that, because I'll still be running it during the AFLW season. You can still send through questions. So if you'd like to hit that up, the link is also at the very top of the description, so you can't miss it there. So if you'd like to hit that up, that'd be very much appreciated. But yeah, make sure you smash a like on the video. That'd be very much appreciated. 100 likes is always the goal, so if we can get to 100 likes, that'd be fantastic. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're less than 80 away from 2.7k, so that'd be good to hit that goal there. And yeah, we're back tomorrow, obviously, for the captain's video, as always. Previewing the captains. Tough week this week. A few really strong options there. Be interesting to see how the list goes there. Then obviously pre-lock at chat on Friday, and then we also got our watch along on the Friday, and then Saturday, and yeah, so looking forward to that. But yeah, thanks guys for tuning in as always, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow for the captain's video. So thanks guys, I'm out. Cheers.